about this little lady in my life. I guess you could call it a prearranged relationship, since neither of us ever really agreed on it to my knowledge. But I love her though, and I think she loves me.
What's up, everybody? I'm Gymkhana Josh, and welcome to Beyond the Apex, where we talk about motorcycle everything and then some. We got an awesome show tonight. It's almost a full house. Actually, it's pretty much a full house. We usually don't have this many people on the show. Tonight is Ladies Night 2, and we got some ladies with different experiences from different levels of the motorcycle involvement, the community, and whatnot. We'll get to that in a second. For right now, over to my left, you see my co-host Butter. Butter, what's up with you, man? How you doing?
Good, yo. Everything good. Great week. Birthday yesterday.
Yeah,
you already know
happy
the
birthday.
big. Had a great weekend, and many more to come. I think the parties are not over yet.
Hey, if anybody out there right now is looking at Butter and is like, wow, I can actually see Butter's face on the show, you could thank me for that, because Butter's
One of
rocking a
my
new
next
setup.
Yeah, I heard Josh's mom was complaining that she couldn't see my good
Yeah.
looks.
I don't know what she was. I mean, she wasn't missing anything, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I blind in one eye, right? Yeah, so, yeah. But that's gonna be a great show. I got three of my favorite girls out here on the set. We're gonna start with we have different points of bike. We got entry level, mid level, and then we got like experts. So you'll be getting three different views on from three different girls and on their way up, climbing up the ladder in this motorcycle world, and it's gonna be very interesting because I am really super psyched to be interviewing one of my favorite track people, and it's not a guy, it's a girl. No, it's not because she's a hot chick. She's a young lady. She's only 16 years old. She's just a phenomenon, and I love that stuff.
Well, all right, so let's go around down the bottom left of your screen. We got Jenny. Jenny, what's up? I've only met you a handful of times, but you've been awesome so far. You got a lot to talk about, and as far as tonight's show is concerned, you are the most novice of the crew. So thank you for being here. You got anything to say to the people at home?
No, I wanted to say hi, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me onto the show.
That's what's up.
For those of you that don't know, so Jenny recently got her motorcycle license. I think the ink is still drying on the ID, as that's how far back it goes. But it was great. So I met Jenny through Motorcycle Ventures, and she was excited, and she's like, I want to get a bike. So for her 22nd anniversary, right? Or 22nd wedding anniversary? I just threw out your age. So her husband bought her a motorcycle. She was not expecting that. That was like the last thing she expected. So I had reached out. Actually, a friend reached out to me trying to sell a motorcycle, and I was like, "What?" And I was like, "This is the perfect bike for her." So I reached out to her husband, and I was like, "Look, I have the perfect bike for your wife." The girl actually delivered it. The person she actually got the bike from is another female rider named Amanda, who rides a ZX10. Who's I wish I would have had on the show, but she's been busy with some other stuff. So she delivered the bike, and it was a big surprise to Jenny. And Jenny was like, "What? I got a bike?" And I tell you, what is it, like 2 weeks before you went and got your license? It was like, she was like super fast. She was like, pew! And she got a license. And
So you're fresh. You're like totally fresh.
Dude,
Yeah.
she
Okay.
even hosted bike night. She's like, "Hey guys, this is bike night out in Jersey. You got to come out." She's over here emailing and tagging everybody. She just jumped into this. So
Okay. Well, that's good. That'll be a good perspective tonight. Like I said, we're gonna work our way up. So in the middle of the screen, down the bottom, you will see Melissa. Melissa, you've been riding for a little bit longer than Jenny, but not quite to like an expert level. Would you say? Like what? At what point are you in your motorcycle life? Like where are you at?
My first official season riding. I got my bike last year, but I didn't really start till this year.
Okay. I mean, have you done any courses yet, or are you just riding with friends, or like what is your experience so far?
Just riding around when I can, when the weather's nice, and then we have events. I ride out.
Okay, that's what's up. And
I,
then
I worked with Melissa last year a little bit. She kind of got it first day. She was already riding back and forth. So it was a busy time last year, but I actually had her come out to where I'm at, and she rode up and down, and she was doing it. She was fine. She was making her turns, and so she's a natural. And then the last time I saw her, she's doing a $125 with me on the highway.
Incriminating.
She did something right. So,
Actually, I feel like girls get it a little bit quicker than the guys do. I don't know if it's like a macho thing or a pride thing or whatever it is, but like girls, I feel like they just tend to understand it way better. They take the instruction better. They do the exercises better or whatever. Whatever. We'll talk about that probably later. Down at the bottom left of bottom right of everybody's screen is Elisa, our prodigy future female Rossi over there. I've heard so many things from the RV that you and your dad rock when you go to the track to how many times you pass butter, which ain't that impressive, by the way. I just want to say, because whatever. But yeah, I've heard so much about you, and I'm glad to finally have you on the show tonight. It's nice to see you, nice to meet you. Please say hi to the people at home and give us a little bit about where you're at.
Having me on.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you started in this motorcycle game.
I started riding when I was 7 on dirt bikes and on the track when I was 12. And it's been a passion every summer with my dad. And we basically live back. So it's a really fun hobby.
Right on. Okay.
So great story to tell about Elisa, which obviously we talked about it. So my first day at New York Safety Track, I'm in the novice group, just like 3 years ago, more confident, got my Alpine Star suit, I'm on my CBR, and I get on the track and everything's good to go. Now, I didn't realize that 75 is like the normal speed taking turn 1, and I'm doing it at 30. And I'm coming around turn number 3, and this colorful little Ninja 300 and a whole wave of beautiful hair sticking out the helmet goes blowing past me like if I was waiting for the bus. So I finished my session, and I'm like I'm looking for the bike, and I'm expecting to see this dude or whatever, maybe it's a dude with long hair, whatever. And I'm looking at the bike, and I'm like, who's the owner of this bike? And this little 13-year-old girl is like, me.
Hey.
Were you just on the track? She's like, yeah. She's like, I just went by you. I'm like, what? And I'm telling my friend, I'm like, I don't think I want to ride anymore. He's like, what happened? I was like, this little 13-year-old girl just blew past me. And my friend is just dying laughing. And then at the time, we were pitting next to gentleman and his wife that we were talking about earlier. And the girl goes, oh, that's just Elisa. She's a regular here. And I'm like, she's 13 years old. How much of a regular can she be? She's like, she's here all the time with her dad. And I'm sitting there embarrassed as shit. I'm like, damn, I've been riding 27 freaking years. And this girl just blew by me. So I went over there and I became a fan ever since. Great kid. Her dad is an amazing guy, so well respected at the track. It's something that I would like for the rest of the ladies to, get to know Elisa, because when we do our female track days, I would like for her to be there and give you guys a lot of words of encouragement, because she is a phenomenon. There was one day where she was riding and she went into turn 1 and kept going. Never, right? Was it turn?
Turn 1, I started.
Yeah, and last I heard, she had like a broken collarbone, so she's a little banged up, but you get up and ride again. So my question for Jenny is, how did you get involved? What hooked you?
I've always actually wanted to ride, but with my husband, he's very protective. He doesn't want me to get hurt. But then as he starts, getting with other groups, and he started seeing females out there, he's like, yeah, why not? Go for it. So I was like, okay, all right. So, with the anniversary surprise gift, it actually pushed me more. Like, all right, I want to get on her. I want to get on her right now. He's like, no, slow your roll. Slow your roll. You got to go take course. I can only teach you so much. But I was eager. I took the course. I passed. that same night, I stood at the DMV because New Jersey DMV is not really open. So I stood there at 3 a.m. waiting for them to open, and I made sure I got that shit endorsed. So I'm legal.
So now, as a new member of our community, what is it that you would like to see as a female rider, and what do you say to those females who are interested in riding or thinking about riding, even if, like you yourself, who are a mother of two beautiful kids, your wife, three kids, excuse me, your wife, so you have a lot of responsibilities, but what can you share with these young ladies and older women who want to still do it?
I say go for it. Never have any doubt on yourself. Have confidence when you get on the bike. There are risks. Just be cautious because everybody want you to return back to home. Just take it easy. Like, you gotta learn to crawl before you walk. Just put it that way.
I mean, everybody wants you to return home. It doesn't matter whether you're a mother or a father or whatever. Everybody wants you to return home. I think a lot of that mentality though is like you took the class. A lot of people don't learn the basics, like learning the fundamentals of motorcycle riding. That's a really big key to having a long life in the motorcycle community. So at least you're doing it right.
So and this is why Elise is going to be like a really great when it's her turn to just put the kibosh on everything. Training is very important because Elise is not even old enough to ride in the street, but she has so much experience on technical riding that I'm pretty sure when she hits the street, she's going to be like nothing for her. Now, Melissa, I know you've been riding a little bit over a year, and I'd like to thank you because you're married to a Marine, or you're going to get married to a Marine who serves our wonderful country. And as a wife of a Marine and a mother of his two beautiful children, give us your perspective on it.
I mean, I was hesitant of riding at first, but once you kind of get on and get the hang of things, it's just like driving a car. It comes naturally. So.
I remember the first time you dropped your bike.
Well, you gotta throw that out there.
Let's not talk about that.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you why. She was so confident, and that came from me. Like I try to teach them, to do the right thing, and she was so like she got it. Like most people when you're showing them how to ride, it's like you don't want to disencourage them, but for her it was just like, all right, no, you're gonna do this, and she was like, okay, and she did it. It wasn't like you gotta do this. You know how you repeat something to someone over and over, and you're like, I don't think ever gonna get it. It was like just tell Melissa once, and she did it. So then I was like, all right, you're good. You're on your own. And she was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I had her going back and forth 100 times because I wanted her to like learn how to turn the motorcycle at slow speed because that's the difficult part, right? And she was going back and forth. And then she's like, I got this. And then she got a little too cocky and went.
I didn't fall. I kind of just laid the bike down.
Yeah, she kind of laid the bike down. So she had the CBR.
What, 600?
Yeah, same bike I have now was my first bike.
Yeah, well, I mean, it happens. Honestly, don't feel bad because I've been riding much longer than you, but I've laid pretty much, well, I'm not going to say every bike, but I've laid a lot of my bikes down just in parking lots, like just doing stupid stuff, trying to back out of a spot. My foot slips out from under me or whatever happens. So don't feel bad. It happens to everybody. I'm not the best.
I mean, they do say you're not a true rider till you fall.
Absolutely right. There are those that are gonna fall and those that have already fallen.
I have kind of a problem with that mentality, but I understand where it comes from for sure.
But I as a father of a young lady, I know you have some goals to encouraging women to ride, right? You yourself, how old are you? You don't mind me asking?
Me?
Yeah, how old are you?
Oh, 25.
25. So do you feel that this was a good age to learn, or you should have learned a little younger? Because I've interviewed some females that wish they would have did it younger, like Elisa.
I mean, I first kind of was on just sat on the motorcycle when I was really young with my uncles, and I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And I'm like, I'll like do it later, and then later never really came. So I wish I did start earlier.
Now, what advice can you give future female riders?
I mean, if you're afraid, it's gonna happen. I was afraid, but once you get on, you should be more comfortable after riding for a little while. But you should just do it because life's short.
Right.
Now, to our special guest of honor. So, like I said, I met her when she was 13. I was amazed. I was blown away by everything she was doing on the track. And I was just so like taken away because she reminds me so much of my daughter. My daughter had the same spirit of riding and, she was so enthusiastic. And that was taken away from me pretty short because at a young age, her mother decided to leave New York City and made things a little difficult for me. But I look forward when I come to the track, like she's like the first person I look for. Like I always ask, like, is anybody, Elisa, is Bruce coming this weekend? Because I look forward to seeing that relationship and then just watching her on the track. Kind of like, it keeps my mind in this glory thing of where me and my daughter would be at this point. Because my daughter's her age. She's going to be 16. So in my head, I'm like, this could be us. And not that I envy it, because I just think it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. But the father and the daughter are doing this. So can you kind of give us a little background on how you got started into this?
Well, I got started mostly because of my dad. The original plan, I started riding dirt bikes when I was about 7 years old, but the original plan was for me to start riding the track when I turned 16. But one day when I was 12, one of the ladies at this racetrack offered for me to try on her suit and it fit. So I came out and told my dad, I want to start riding the racetrack, and he said, all right. So he got me a used 300 and an Alpine Star suit, and I started off like that. And I did lunch laps for 3 weeks at New York Safety Track, just putting in laps around the track while no one was there, and then started novice and worked my way up.
So I see you. You're like me. Shout out to my man Carlos, certified knee drag. I see you got your certified knee dragging shirt. I'm pretty sure you got your colors before I did because you was dragging me way before I even got up there. But shout out to Carlos. He's a really great guy. So your first official track day, you was 12?
I was 12 years old.
And how did that feel? Like, I mean, because I know when we go up to New York Safety, it's just a lot of guys. So how did it feel?
Dude, I don't even remember what happened when I was 12 years old. Like,
well,
I was like playing Pokemon or something. I don't know.
At the time I was the only kid. Now there's a few more kids up at the track, but it was a little intimidating because I was going to be the only kid out on the racetrack with all these grown men, and I was one of maybe 5 women at the racetrack. So I was going to be this like little 12-year-old girl out on a racetrack with a bunch of 30, 40-year-old men. So it was a little intimidating, but I was really, really excited about it.
Yeah, until you started like beating the pants out of them, and like then you're like, oh well, this ain't nothing. These guys they're nothing.
So I know the times. Josh, I'm gonna see you.
Speechless.
I'm gonna see you, Josh. I'm gonna be nice to him because he bought me this really nice gift. But don't worry, his time is coming.
All right,
I'm gonna cut it. Elisa, so I know the average track time at New York Safety, I'm gonna safely say, is a 1:38. What is your time?
On my 400, I run a 1:42. So that's my time. That's my fastest time. Usually the really, really fast 400s are running anywhere from like a 1:37-ish to mid 140s, like 1:45s. I know Tristan King, who races Moto America, has run a 1:35 on a 400, but it's usually around that range.
Jeez.
Okay, you're not that far off track. Now I know if you probably got on your dad RSV4, you probably 35 and run circles around all these guys. I get it. So let me ask you a question. I know there is a couple of young men at the track. There's Junior. There's the other young man, I think the little Dominican kid that he comes with his dad. Forget what I mean. So do you actually ride with them? Like, do you guys like have like this teenage competition amongst each other?
Occasionally, yes. It's a lot more fun riding with other kids your age. We like mess around with each other. I know when other kids come, we'll it's not necessarily just a race to see who can go fastest, but also let's pass back and forth. Let's give each other hand signs as we pass over the wheelie hill or something. Just
Willie
messing
Hill,
around.
Willie Hill, I'm squeezing my butt cheeks so I don't fly off the bike, and you're giving hand signals. You believe this? Like, come on, showing us up, Josh. I mean, when you go through Willie Hill, Josh, you're gonna really know what it is to kind of like crap your pants if you're going too fast. And giving high fives. I mean, it's
I
great.
just do that all the time anyway. The entire time around the track, I'm just constantly, so that's okay. For you two, for Jenny and for Melissa, do you ladies have any desire to actually get on the track? Are you guys trying to do that, or are you just focused on
Yeah.
eventually? Yeah.
No.
I mean,
wanna go.
eventually.
The reason why is because from what I heard, it's a lot safer for you to ride and push your limit on the track because there's no interference.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to drag my knee.
Yeah.
Drag it. Hopefully past butter. Let's see.
So my goal is to eventually get the girls. So next season would be one of the seasons that I would like to get everybody on the track. And so, Josh, give me a second because my thing is about to die. I don't know why my computer went bad pretty fast, but
It's all
it
good,
is
man.
about to die. Let me.
I wondered too. I was gonna ask, Elisa, have you ever heard of Ruts to Race Lines? There's a lady that was on our show maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago or so, and she sponsors track days specifically for females to go ride like New Jersey Motorsports Park or New York Safety Track or even dirt riding or whatever. Have you ever heard of an organization like that that's just for females?
I haven't heard of that particular organization, but that sounds great. I have heard of Motor Girl GT, and I know they have an all women's race series, so it's all women and girls racing against each other. So, and it's they have a lot of track days just for women too. I know, so I've heard of them, and I think it's a really cool idea.
You've never done anything like that though?
What was
You've
that?
never done anything like that, like specifically for like the female riders?
I have not. I haven't done any like all female races or anything. I have done a couple all women's track days, but that's about it.
I'm gonna put out like a free shameless plug for Marika's organization, Ruts to Race Lines. She is so badass, and everybody that's involved with that is so badass. Jenny and Melissa, I would highly recommend, even Elisa, even you too, like look them up, check them out, because every type of motorcycle racing that you could possibly be interested in, they are focused on like bringing up females in the sport and in the culture and in the community. So like I said, they were on the show not too long ago, at least America was, and she talked about her organization, and it was just like all around like a great experience for female riders. So I think that's something that at least Jenny and Melissa, if you're trying to get involved, that's a good way to start. They'll take you from bare bones day one, my first time even being at a track, to, you know, I'm not going to say up to Elisa's level, but
I think he broke out. Can't hear him.
I can't hear.
No, he's.
can you hear me?
No,
Yeah.
I can.
Right.
Yeah, I would say look into maybe one of those organizations for beginning at least. But are you back? Can you hear us too?
Give me a second. I'm trying to get back on it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, headphones had to change because mine's pretty fast. So, okay, back to basics. So
Yes,
yeah,
I
so
definitely wanna
basically
get
what I
involved with that. I'm sorry.
so next year what I'm going to be doing, and I think Elisa's going to like it, because I'm going to have 5 female riders that are going to be coming to the track. It's going to be Jenny, Melissa, hopefully if our young friend Crystal, after she has her baby, she will be joining. We have Soul will be joining us, my wife Soul, And I have another friend named Coco, who is an exceptional street rider who's been on the show before. She's actually coming out to track. So I would like to have those girls come up and meet up with Elisa. We'll definitely plan those days for the new year. We're going to be worrying about getting track suits set up prior to that. So, Elisa, how difficult was it for you to get like a really good? I mean, I heard you say you tried on a tracksuit the first day and you jumped on the bike.
I did. Women's tracksuits are a little harder to come by, but they do fit really well once you find one that you find the measurements. I'm getting a custom race suit at the end of this month, which for women I think is the best way to go, because then women are shaped a little bit differently than men, so the measurements are more precise. The suit will fit you.
Who's customizing your suit?
I'm having Bison Track do my race suit, so they take the measurements. They took 36 measurements, and I get to pick the colors and everything. Yeah, 36 measurements.
Every little detail.
Yeah, so so I basically have used Salim of Historic GP, and he does an arm length, elbow to arm, elbow to wrist, ankle. Like he goes completely. But when I tried on my tracksuit, the first day I got it at New York Safety, it was delivered to me. I didn't have to worry about breaking in the suit because it was like a perfect fit. And I'm not your average size guy. I'm a big guy. I got a big belly. I got no butt. So I didn't have like this tracksuit. No, it's bugged out because like if you buy a standard tracksuit and you're a big person, the people who design these tracksuit believe that you're big on the bottom. So like my leg part was like very baggy, very loose. My bug was very saggy. So I was very like uncomfortable on the tracksuit. And I get it for girls, it's probably the same thing. It could be like, if you're too busty, then the top might be too tight, or if you're too small and it might be too loose. So getting a custom tracksuit, I mean, it's probably one of the best things you can do because it alleviates the whole I'm not uncomfortable. Because if you're comfortable in your tracksuit, then riding the bike is a lot easier.
Yeah, but then I have like a bender weekend and I wake up on Monday and I just can't put my suit on anymore. So I'm not getting a custom suit like that.
Well, fortunately for us, we Salim lives literally like Jenny can throw a spoon to the back of his backyard. That's how close he is. So we'll be going up in multitudes and groups and getting sized up. But the good thing about the historic GP suits, a lot of the suits that he does, they're half kangaroo, half cowhide. So they're like very light suits. I mean, I know Jenny has actually gone and got my suit. They weigh a little bit, but it's a lot. But when you put it on, you feel the difference, especially someone like myself who's been in an all cowhide suit as to compare as a half and half. There's a big difference in weight.
When that suit actually does its job and protects you in a fall, man, all that weight doesn't even matter. Or like all the pain and hassle and the measurements doesn't even matter because when you walk out of a crash at 110 miles an hour, that's really all that matters, honestly. Like all the other pain and hassle doesn't really matter anymore.
Well, speaking of crashes, I mean, Elisa, you're 16. Can you tell us how many crashes you had? I mean, it's bound to happen. I mean, I've gone down multiple times in my 30 years of riding. So even at 16, how many crashes have you had at the track?
I've had 6 crashes.
Wow.
Can you tell us what you've broken so far?
I've broken my collarbone. I've broken my ankle in 3 places.
Dang.
Broke a finger. That's all I've broken. I've sprained some things. I've bruised a lot, but those are the major ones.
Yeah. Now, like sometimes, so you go down at the track. So I just want to give people a perspective. Like some people go down in the street because some idiot cut them off or another car hit them in the back. And that kind of discourages a lot of riders. I know in your position, because you're out there perfecting your craft, how do you feel after you crash? Because I know you don't crash because someone else made a mistake. You probably crashed because you went a little bit harder. You kind of like overthought something. So give us a little perspective on it.
Well, it's a little bit of a mix. When you crash, when you're pushing your limit, well, okay, what do I can push that limit again, but do it in a safer way so that I don't crash again. And it's almost motivational when you crash because you're pushing your limit, because now you have to work on something else. I got to move forward from this, and how do I do that to move forward, get faster, not make that mistake again. The track also gives you good awareness for where other motorcycles are, because if someone else crashes, you don't want to hit them, which has happened to me. So it's also that combination of like also having to be mindful of where other track riders are and getting that, those reflexes to be able to avoid other bikes, learn to not target fixate.
Do you get a lot of guys who hate on you because you passed them at the track? And
Not often, just occasionally there's one or two.
Yeah, you do. They just don't say anything. That's the only thing. They just don't tell you. But one thing you said right there, I wanna say, I told you guys before the show, I'm the philosophical type, or I'm the personal type, right? She had a really good point right there, in that when you crash or when you have a mistake, it's supposed to be a learning lesson. It's supposed to be a time to like understand what you did wrong and become better from it. Sometimes, unfortunately, other people don't have a second chance. They don't have the opportunity to learn from their mistakes and do better. But as you're going through your motorcycling career, whether you're fresh, off getting your permit, or you've been riding for a year, or whatever the case,
let them go.
Just try to learn from those mistakes without hurting yourself too much, I guess.
So I know you said you were going to be doing CCS racing. Do you have any sponsorships coming up? Is anybody sponsoring you?
I do not have any sponsorships. I plan on starting racing next season, so I don't know. We haven't really thought about it yet.
So I think with the new venture coming up soon, I'm gonna keep that a secret, but you might have a sponsor in the works already. I will consult with a few other companies, which I know Scott would be a fool not to sponsor you, especially as an avid female rider at New York Safety, where he makes a lot of his money. I think Scott would be an ideal. I mean, even just for like simple stuff. But we'll once we finish our adventure here in New York City, what we're working on, we'll talk to Dad about sponsorship in terms of tires and stuff like that. So I definitely would like to get involved with that. I know the CCS is kind of drooling, so you'll be competing with a lot of egos. But I mean, I wish you well. I think you're a very humble kid, and I think you're gonna have the world by storm. I think, and I ask of those female and even guys who are watching the show and friends who, like when you come out there, encourage other female riders. I know we have Shannon out in North Carolina, who's actually putting on a great event in May, who invited us to come out. I think people need to encourage the female riders because it only makes the sport better. And I don't want to sound like a sexist pig or nothing like that, but a lot of us guys, when we go to the track, we're kind of like, we gun-ho everything. When the girls are at the track, especially, I know, Elisa, you see a lot of the wives, they're out there and they got everything in order. They got the bikes on the warmers, they're cooking, they're doing this. They bring a little bit more of a home style to the track, where us guys is just basically like runts, and we're like, yeah, we can sleep on the floor.
Like cavemen.
So they kind of give the track a little sense of life,
Yeah.
Not just like a bunch of hobos. So, and I know when you go up there, it's like a whole, whole thing. But it's important that we grow the sport, especially for young female riders. I think it will encourage more kids, because I always say this, Josh knows, like, you never see little kids who are involved in biking doing the wrong thing. Kids who have motorcycles, who are, dirt biking and all that stuff, they're in the right path. They're going to school. I know for you, if you didn't do something, your dad says, you're not going to the track this weekend, you would be pretty sad, right? Like you'd
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, hey. So I think it's a good way to encourage young Americans, young youth, to do this stuff. I know we
Back in
talked
my
about
day, we'd sneak out and go to the track
yeah.
because we were rebels like that.
I recently went to Lightning and I was there with Salim and his kids were racing. They were at the track, and he has it like a school. He has his kids, the bikes are laid out, and it's such a family-oriented thing. And I think it's one of the greatest things to see. The world paints this Beaver Cleaver, Brady Bunch kind of how we should live as as parents and kids. I think there should be like a modern day version of the parent with his kids at the track. It's a different story. It's a different aspect, and I think it gives us a different sense of life. When Bruce comes to the track with Elisa, everybody knows he's at the track. He comes in his beautiful, mobile outlaw home.
Here we go.
And
let's talk about the RV.
everybody, I'll cut it out. and no, I'm just going based on like when they show up, it's like people like to see them because it's just not like it's not like this guy. It's not like the thing about the track is like you don't see like, oh, here's this rich guy. No, what you see is, oh, here comes the father and daughter combo. And everybody likes that. And then like you have there's an older couple. I keep forgetting their name. I'm so bad with names. But when they show up, it's like, oh, I call them mom and pop. Mom and pop are here. They ride together. They got to be in their 60s, right, Elisa? I mean,
Actually, no, they're we have an ongoing joke. They're actually both in their 50s, I believe.
okay, so they're like excuse me if I misspoke numbers, but they're a great couple. They're really fun to talk to. They have a lot of knowledge, and it's cool to see that because sometimes we see the fellas and it's just become a fellowship amongst guys. But when it's everybody involved, the kids, like certified knee draggers, you go over there, it's his wife, his nephew, his best friend, him. It's like they have like a little condominium at the corner of New York Safety Track, and it's pretty cool because you go there and you can get a cup of coffee, you can get some Spanish food, you can get a burger and a hot dog. All this at the track is like they have their own. It's like basically a whole setup. They got their whole apartment set up there, and it's pretty dope. And I think that is what people need to see. They don't just need to see like all these guys on motorcycles. They need to see the family orientation of the whole sport. It's really, really, really cool.
Melissa and Jenny, are you guys gonna get a track bike and a street bike and do the track thing on a different bike, or are you gonna take what you got right now and go to the track? When are you guys gonna get on the track?
It's a good question. I don't know.
That was like a unanimous shoulder
right
shrug. That was like a at the same time shoulder shrug right there. Cause
I would use my bike.
Go ahead. Say it again.
Yeah, because we probably use my bike since like I'm used to it.
Okay.
I'm more comfortable in that bike, so.
Same thing for you.
Yeah,
if I have to get a track bike, then I have to get a track bike. But
I think the best way now that you've been so accustomed to your CBR, which is an amazing track bike, out of all the bikes, it's a really great bike. It would be great, for you to, being that you're accustomed to it, that would be a great track bike. Then you'll buy yourself a new bike. Jenny, who has a Cowie 300, which Elisa can testify, those are great track bikes. Other than not being able to do 160 miles an hour down the strip, but they're actually good for what they're meant to be. You don't have to shift so much, and you can keep it in fifth gear, right? What gear are you riding the track? Are you in fifth, Elisa?
I'm shifting all over the place, but I'm sixth gear at the front straight.
Okay. But it's easier to take a turn and not have to go down 3 or 4 gear.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because the season's almost over. You ladies want to get in a track day, you should probably organize something. October or November is like the end of it, right? November, there's pretty much no more track days. At least New Jersey.
So I know we was talking about it with the girls. So Jenny is fairly new, and we also have another young lady that Jenny is riding with. Her name is Amanda, who just got her motorcycle license. So my goal is to get everybody first physically fit in a suit, comfortable, and then shoot for March of April of next year at New York Safety. I know, if anybody who knows Greg, Greg is a really great track. He's one of the most phenomenal. I mean, Elisa could testify to that. Greg is one of the best track owners you could ever meet. He's such a people person. His motto is, if I give it to you now and I hook you, I got a junkie for life. It's just like drugs. I mean, he might say, hey, don't worry about it. Don't pay for it. Because he knows
You'll
2, 3, 4, 5. You'll be back like a heroin addict, man. And it's true, man. I never forget. God rest his soul. My best friend, Andrew, got me on the track. And I was like, this stuff is not for me. These crackers, this is cracker shit. Like, I ain't fucking with it. And then I met guys like Kevin Law, Pete Schweitzer, Paul Miles, Mark. I mean, I met so many guys. And I was like, wow, this is like home. Then I met Bruce and Elite. And I was like, wow. And first day I met Bruce and his daughter, he actually took me inside to take a look at his beautiful Outlaw. And I was like, he's like, yeah, there's a bed up here. There's this over
That's
here.
That's the one I want, man. That's the one I want.
Yeah, she's got the big boy. She's got the big
That's
boy.
The one I want.
But it was so friendly how I got hooked in. And it was just like, I don't think the point of riding was what got me hooked. I think it was the commodity and the friendships that I made that made it so much better. And I know Elisa, again, could talk about how is it when you go up there, how cool it is when you get up to the track and it's like a welcoming committee, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a whole family environment up there.
Oh, yeah. I love that too. I mean, they don't really welcome me when I get there, but it's nice after a while. They're not super happy to see me, but it's cool.
We're gonna throw duck poop at you. If one thing I like to say, and I know this as well. So September 18th, 19th, and 20th is the ultimate track weekend. It is the pig roast. Tell them, Elisa. Tell them.
Pig roast is the event of the year for track riders. New York Safety Track puts on a great event, 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's races, there's food, there's an actual pig roast, there's fireworks, music, anything you could ask for. There's games at the end for families. I know there's dodgeball, there's tug of war, there's a Roman candle battle. It's just a really, really fun event for 3 days, just to end off the season with a bang. It's super family friendly. It's a lot of fun.
Is it only track participants, or can anybody just go up there and hang out?
I think anyone can just go up there and hang out. You gotta sign up, I believe. But families are welcome. It's riders, families, everything. It's great.
Yeah, I know, Greg, for people who are participating on the track is one price, and then it's probably like $50 for participant hang out to eat and drink. It's pretty cool.
But I think we should probably start winding down at this point. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, let's do it.
All right. So, people at home, at this point in time, we're going to start winding down. But what we're going to do is we're going to go around the room. We're going to let each one of our guests kind of have a little bit of time to shout out the people they want to shout out, have any closing comments, and kind of finish it up the way they want to finish it up. So, ladies, let's start with Jenny down at the bottom left. What do you got for closing comments? Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, I wanna actually thank my husband Raymond for pushing me. You know, I wouldn't have gotten my license if it wasn't without him. Also a special shout out to my baby sister. It is her birthday today. Happy birthday, Ronnie. Again, thank you guys for having me on the show.
Oh, of course. And Melissa, what you got? What you got for closing comments? What do you want to say before we get out of here?
Like to shout out to my fiance George. Thank you for your service to the Marines that you guys do. For any female riders out there, just go for it. And thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. And Elisa, thank you for joining us. What do you got to say?
Just got a big shout out to all the New York Safety Track coaches, to all the people at Safety Track who were like a family, the King family, my dad, my mom who came to the track, certified knee dragger, everyone at Safety Track who is just it's a great family environment. Thanks for having me.
That's what's up. Butter, what's up, man? What are we doing? We're gonna be getting out of here soon. What do you guys say?
So what do we? There is some track dates coming up. I think September 12th is open. There is Team Fast Life and Team Reckless have a track day. I think it's the 18th. I would have to check it out. So if you guys are interested in any midweek track days, which I think are really, really great as well. The good thing about the midweek track days is groups are smaller, session times are longer. There's a lot of expert guys on the track. You got Easy 22. You got, of course, Carlos Certified Knee Draggers. You got Team Reckless guys, Team Fast Life, J Star. So you definitely, when you get involved in those midweek track days, there's a lot more expertise going on up there. Shout out to Manny. He's one of the best coaches at New York Safety. He's a really great guy. All the coaches at New York Safety. I love each and every one of you guys. You guys are all great. But Manny's like very attention to detail with a lot of things, and a lot of people that I bring up, they kind of gravitate to him. So I look forward to it. Again, the pig roast is the 18th, 19th, and 20th. I know Elise is going to be there. So I'm definitely shooting at least to get up there like Saturday or something like that. So
I might join you for that.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it. Let's all go. I mean, even if you want to come up and just check out the last few weeks of the track as a spectator, you can just come and see the commodity and how much fun it is and how loving everybody is. I think it'll intrigue you to come next season with us.
All right. Well, with that, everybody at home, thank you for joining in. Really appreciate you being here. Subscribe to the channel. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Beyond the Apex, on my YouTube channel. We just have fun and do what we do. And as I always say, leave this world better than you found it. Peace.